pa lang, give them champion energy.
Milo breakfast every day. Milo breakfast every day. Helps you jumpstart your day. Milo every day.
Help make breakfast more nutritious with Milo. May winning combination ng milk, champion energy nutrients, at Choco Multi-Sarap.
Milo breakfast every day. Milo breakfast every day. Helps you jumpstart your day. Milo every day.
From Nestle.
Miss, kape nga.
3 in 1?
Hindi, yung puro.
Dito ka na sa Nescafe Classic.
can't expect your team to manage work with this. With Monday.com's flexible management system, however, you can shape it to the exact way you and your team work. It's surprisingly easy to get started because there are templates for any type of team. You've got project management, sales, marketing, and because your team works differently, you can further customize this to suit your needs. It's that easy. And to really get everyone on board, you want to check out integrations. This connects with your team's tools so their latest progress syncs with the team's workflow, keeping everyone updated. And if this...
Stay with me if you wanna. Stay with me if you wanna. Stay with me if you wanna. Stay with me if you
Sa bahay daming activities, kaya breakfast pa lang, give them champion energy.
Milo breakfast every day. Milo breakfast every day helps you jumpstart your day. Milo every day.
Help make breakfast more nutritious with Milo. May winning combination ng milk, champion energy nutrients, at choco multi-sarap.
Milo breakfast every day. Milo breakfast every day helps you jumpstart your day. Milo every day.
From Nestle.
Good evening, everyone. Please call in your classmates, your friends, or your colleagues to join the webinar because we will be starting in a few minutes. Again, good evening, everyone. Kindly call your classmates, friends, or colleague to join the webinar as we will be starting in a few minutes. Thank you.
Each of us has a dream, an aspiration to something greater, and someone who inspires us to take action.
Good evening, everyone. Please call in your classmates, friends, and colleagues as we will be starting the webinar at 8:40 p.m. IST. Good evening, everyone. Please call in your classmates, friends, and colleagues as we will start the webinar at 8:40 p.m. IST. Thank you.
I'm Marisha Chowdhury, a freshman at UC Berkeley studying computer science. And Silicon Valley for You taught me all the skills necessary to get there. So I first started out learning Java for the AP CSA program, and they taught me all the fundamentals I needed. And from there, I was really inspired to teach kids because my instructor did such a great job teaching me. So I was able to teach the summer camps and do the Ethiopia program, and it was so rewarding to teach these kids these fundamental skills like Scratch and Python. And from there, my skills really flourished by learning different projects to teach the kids, and by also teaching them. It really made my coding skills stronger, and it was a great opportunity for me to teach. And with this initiative, we were able to teach so many students, and Silicon Valley for You was able to create all these dreams and build all these fundamental skills.
My name is Mani, and I'm currently a part-time instructor and also an intern at Silicon Valley for You Coding Academy. As an intern, I currently run a Scratch bootcamp and also work on SV4U's community projects. Currently, we are working on a fully functioning and responsive website for Tiny Text Club using Ionic Framework. And I really enjoy working as an intern here thanks to the amazing instructors and the amazing learning environment they provide. The instruction to programming is excellent, and they also give a really good insight to the tech world. And as a Scratch instructor, I can confidently say that even through the COVID pandemic, they've been able to maintain their high quality programs remotely. I really enjoy coding and instructing at SV4U, and I hope I can intern and learn from SV4U's amazing team in the future.
Hello, my name is Gia Sauerger, and I've been learning Python at Silicon Valley for You for a while now. Coding, I've learned, is a required skill. I'm grateful that I'm getting the exposure to the programming world at this age. Python is a fun language to learn and to implement it as well. And not only Python, but recently I've been taking a class where I get to design and build websites. And it's very efficient that interns like me get to teach smaller children basic programming structures and methods. Yeah, I get to shape the younger minds like I once was. Silicon Valley for You definitely helped pique my interest in coding and gave me the pathway to do the same for others.
Hi, my name is Theresa and I'm 16 years old. The reason why I love coding is because it truly enhances your hard skills as well as your soft skills. When learning a new programming language or simply just experimenting with new websites that you're quite not familiar with, you build your hard skills, which includes computer and analytical skills, as well as that knowledge in that specific area that you're currently learning. Coding will always boost your soft skills, as well as being courageous to try new things, and your critical thinking skills, whether you're actually just starting to learn to code or you've been coding for many years. And I took a Python, web design, and an HTML/CSS course through Silicon Valley for You, and I highly recommend you do so too. They have many courses for your interests. And just recently, Silicon Valley for You accepted me as an intern to teach younger students how to code. And I'm truly appreciative for this one-of-a-kind opportunity.
Hi, my name is Camelia, and I'm currently an intern at Silicon Valley for You. Silicon Valley for You has not only taught me both JavaScript and Python, but they also accepted me in their internship program where I teach other students different types of coding languages. Silicon Valley U has taught me both Python and JavaScript, but along with that, they also taught me how to push my thinking, which is extremely important in both coding as well as daily life. I'm super excited to be in their internship program, and I'm really excited to see what happens next.
Hi, I'm Nathan Asafa. I'm 13 years old and I live in Ethiopia. The reason I love coding is because you're always challenging yourself, whether you're learning a new programming language or trying out a new framework. It also teaches you patience and discipline. Silicon Valley for You taught me how to code on both Scratch and Python. They also accepted me into their internship, which I'm very grateful for, and they've let me teach younger students.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Silicon Valley for You's Bringing Silicon Valley to Mother Teresa Institute of Engineering and Technology. It is one of the countless webinars that bring you knowledge beyond horizon and to bring enrichment to your wisdom. This webinar is brought to you by Silicon Valley for You, along with RoboCorp and iFlow Software. My name is John, and I am a member of Team SV for You. Also, we would like to encourage everyone to please like us on Facebook. That is facebook.com/Silicon Valley for You, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Silicon Valley for One, and get connected with us on LinkedIn. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our first speaker. He is the founder or CEO of Silicon Valley for You. He has over 20 years of experience in hip tech industry and championed multiple companies. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Guru Yeleswaratu. Guru.
Thanks, John. So can I share the screen? Yeah, let me see. All right. All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you can see my screen. So good morning to myself and Peter, I guess, and good evening to everyone else, people who are in Europe, India. So thanks for joining. And so I'm going to talk about what Silicon Valley for You does for all the education institutions and students. So as name suggests, Silicon Valley for You is to bring Silicon Valley to you. So wherever you are, you don't have to come here anymore. And there was a time myself, I came here to build my career. So now we bring Silicon Valley to you guys, and you can experience while you're in school or college. So that's the mission of Silicon Valley for You. Myself, Guru Yeleswaratu, I'm the CEO of the company. And so today's agenda, so myself, I'll be speaking more about how our programs are structured to help you out in terms of your education and post-education, and how you can connect to the real world, what's happening in the industry, and how we can bring that, the industry to you. So after, followed by Peter. So he's one of our partners, and so he's going to do the demo, and then followed by Bertrand Meyer, is the iFlow Software founder, and he's going to do a demo on one of the programming languages with IDE. So iFlow is one of their programming languages. In fact, he's also into education. He teaches people in Switzerland. I mean, in the universities. So that's the agenda. So we are very glad to partner with CMN Academy, who are located in India. So myself, so I've been around, as I said, over 20 some years. I come from similar background like you guys, and I come from India, and then I launched my careers. I did few startups before this, and this is a very passionate project we took over to help students to realize their potential while they're in colleges. So today's agenda is, I'm going to talk about, as I said, what is Silicon Valley for You, and why us, and how we can help you, and our partner ecosystem. And so we have several partners. I just mentioned a couple of them. So there are more. We have partners in AI, machine learning, web, mobile, NFTs and whatnot. So these are all different partner ecosystem products that we bring as part of the education that you may not be able to find in colleges. And also we have an opportunity for all the students, or at least most of the students, to provide internships. You might have seen the video earlier. Our model is to we want to give you internship. We try our level best to get you internships. It's not like it's not an option, and this is part of the pathway. And only exception is, and if a student is not showing any interest whatsoever. Otherwise, in most cases, we definitely entertain some kind of internship. And also, I'll define what internship means. What is that internship today in the industry, and what people think of what internship is, and what it should be, in reality. So, speaking of Silicon Valley, so just to give an idea, so this is where I live. There are about 10 companies. You recognize most of these companies: Apple's, Google, Facebook, whatnot. We listed only 11 companies. There are hundreds of companies, if not thousands, probably close. I don't know, maybe thousands in the valley itself. So we just picked 11 companies out of those in the radius of 15 by 35. So if you look at their revenue is $1 trillion and market cap is $8 trillion. So you should start questioning why all these are happening only in Silicon Valley, why they haven't been done in the other parts of the world until now. I know that things are starting to happen, but in parts of India and parts of Europe and other places, but still Silicon Valley is heading the industry. So why? So that's, if you start questioning why, and if you dig deep into it, probably you get the answers. And that's the program we are trying to bring to you. The why is it's very high level. It's culture. It's about the application. It's not about knowing a bunch of things or having certificates in a bunch of things. So that's important. Don't get me wrong. That gives you a certificate and also some confidence and some status in the market. But if you don't understand how to apply that, you are going to have long career. Long journey of figuring that out. So if you understand applicability fairly quickly, you will have a successful career. That's what Silicon Valley is. Silicon Valley has the culture where they understand creativity, they understand empowerment, they understand, they have this positive thinking, and if they see a talent, they don't make fun of that talent. They encourage by investing in them, and then so you help each other out, networking, and understanding the technology, and then where the gaps are. So the combined with all these attributes, you get a industry. So that's happened to be headed by Silicon Valley until this point. And so that is what we are trying to bring to colleges and students. Obviously, ultimately, students are going to be benefited. So a little bit about us. We've been around for some time, and so we trained over 15,000 students, probably more. This is a little bit older slide. And in fact, we launched a bunch of programs in India as well. So we provide tons of internships. We continue to do. So we, all our academy students, as they progress through our program, we absorb them into our internships. And it's just a continuous process. It's not like we have a job drive, or we just have this advertisement for certain jobs, and it's sort of a Google model. If you are good, we'll hire you. We'll figure out where you can fit in. It's not like, okay, we have this job, you have to do this. That's not the criteria. So the other part of internship is we want you to understand different aspects of real world and identify yourself where you fit in. I know a lot of times you guys, me included, back in the day, I shouldn't say you guys, we all, when we finish our academics, there is a tendency to go with certain path. For instance, speaking of India, you write, XLRI, CAT, and go to MBA, or you write TOEFL, GRE, come to US, or go to Australia or Canada or somewhere else. And or maybe GATE and go to masters. However, do you know, let's say assuming you went to MBA, do you know that you're going to be successful in the business field? Maybe you're better off being a tech guy, or you don't know yet. And unfortunately, or however it is, the system is defined a certain way, and you read the CAT, and then you get the score and you join, and you think that that's going to pay off. Yes, you will get a good, decent job to begin with, probably. But does it translate to your career? You don't know yet. Maybe you're not fit for. So I didn't do a master's in business administration. I'm running a business. I wish I knew this back in the day. Maybe I would have done my business degree rather than computer science degree. You know what I mean? Or at least business major and computer science minor, as opposed to what I did. Well, I didn't have much choice back then. Anyway, point is that it's the discovery of you and your strengths, identifying your strengths, and more importantly, your weaknesses, that will accelerate your career significantly. So those are the things we try to bring ahead of time while you're in college. And by the time you get out of your college through our platform, we hope that you discover what works and what doesn't work for you. And so we are headquartered in San Francisco Bay Area. We are in many countries. We are actively expanding to a lot of countries, and we are going to be virtual, and we are always going to be online. The benefit of online is that you have a opportunity to be part of a global community, or you have an opportunity to be part of global classroom. So that expands your opportunities in terms of everything, your learning, as well as so-called finding jobs, or internships, or so some of you, if you guys are really interested in launching your own company, we'll help you with incubation services as well. But important thing is, for all these things, you have to see things beyond what you see day in and day out. Probably if you're in the classroom, probably you meet 20, 30 guys every day, and that's not the only world out there. It's much bigger than that. And as you open up your mind and you get to see more avenues, hopefully that helps you to identify more things that can help your career. Okay. So we, as I said, we partner with a bunch of tech companies from Valley and around the world. And so we bring education from business case to skills. So, we go other way around. So just to give an idea, right now, I'm pretty sure most of you did math, physics, chemistry, programming, and if you're into electronics and you're learning electronics and communications and electrical, whatnot, those are all the tools, in my humble opinion. Those are all the tools. So you need a spanner, you need a hammer, you need all that, but you still have to understand how to make a car, or how to fix a car, at least, either way. So, that's the use case, that you need to understand how the actual product works. And then, then you can effectively apply your tools and to make it happen. But in general, in most cases, from our education system, you come out with tons of skills, and very rarely people understand how to apply. Those who can apply and able to comprehend and connect the dots, they're going to do very well. And if you don't, it's going to take a longer time. I'm not going to say you're not going to do well. It might take a longer time for you to figure that out. And on average, the survey says that every professional loses up to 7 years of his life figuring out how industry works. So, so there is, just to speak for community right now here. So when you get out of your college, your motivation is to find a job. And I always hear, the phrase, "Oh, my package is this, and whatever, some number of lakhs, and then this is my company." But I very rarely hear, "Hey, I am trying to solve this problem let's say in data science or machine learning or something else. And by the way, I joined this company. Very rarely, I had never heard, in fact. And also when you join the company, does it tell you what happens after a year or 2 years, 3 years? Probably don't. And they don't, sometimes they don't know. And sometimes you don't have a valid question. You may not be able to articulate your question and to say, hey, you know what, in 3 years time, this is where I want to be. Can your, this job would help me to get there? If you can articulate and ask the question and get the answer, you're doing very well. See, that is the level of comprehension a student needs when they get out of their education. The reason being, just think for a second, you invested at least 20 years of your life in something called education. And it's you need to have a basic clarity of what you are and where you want to be. Otherwise, 20 years is a long investment to waste. And especially the best time of your life, high quality life. And you don't have, you're highly energetic, fresh, enthusiastic, fun, just ready to conquer the world. You don't have any, old people's diseases and things like that. So long story short, you're investing high quality life, and you need to get out with a better output than what it is today. That's my humble opinion. So these are all the colleges we work with. So we are, by 2022, our goal is to reach 250 colleges, partnerships with 250 colleges. And so these are all the colleges. Some of them are from Canada, and this is in South America, this is Brazil, this is Ethiopia, and this is Leslie's in East Coast, US. So this is US, and probably you recognize BNR, VJIT is in Hyderabad. IIM Ranchi is one of the top institutions in the world. And Ryan, so these are all, some of them are from Canada again. And so anyway, these are all different colleges we are working with. So that our model is fairly simple. So we bring business case to skills education. In turn, we help students to see the real world through internships. So thanks to Mr. C.D. Naidu, the principal of BNR. So this is the testimonial we received recently. We launched our programs there. And so in fact, as we speak, classes are going on with them as we speak right now, literally. The companies that we partner with, so as I said, we are in different spaces. You'll see a massive marketing campaign from Newton, which is an AI company, and Silicon Valley for you in few days. So we are, so it's a collaborative, campaign to bring. So we want to turn a lot of students to data scientists as by the time they exit their colleges. But keep in mind, if that's not your interest, that's not another world. So we are not going to force this upon you, but if that's something that resonates with what you want, yes. Otherwise, we have so many other opportunities. Robo is a fantastic tool. In fact, Peter is going to do a demo today, how effective their solution is. And a very cool thing about RoboCarp is it works with Python, and which is the programming language. Pretty much, it's like almost like a spoken language for everybody nowadays, and everybody knows Python. I'm pretty sure some of you probably learning. If you don't, we will help you to get up to the speed. So that's a good marriage to have RPA tools with Python. So they just go hand in hand. It's a very smooth flow for students to be able to build solutions. All these products bring the novelty, the creation, and the latest and brightest solutions out there today. So the important thing for students to understand is you need to have fundamentals, concepts, like for instance, if it is computer science, you need to know operating systems, compilers, databases, and some of the programming languages. I'm not a big fan of knowing every programming language, but at least some. But at the same time, you need to know where the industry is. And let's say if you want to build RPA, oh yes, you can start with Python and do it. It takes about, I don't know, 3 man-years, I don't know, whatever it takes. And whereas RoboCorp did a lot of research, they put in millions of dollars to make it much simpler for a community. You should know that as well. At the same time, you know the fundamentals. If you have both, then you are ready for the industry. If you know one, you may not be ready for the industry. That is the crux of what we are trying to do here with our partner ecosystem. All right, so why Silicon Valley for you? So I'm going to switch gears and then show a few things. And so like I said, we have a guaranteed internship model. And so I'm going to show some of the platforms that we created. You'll see we are revamping some of our digital footprint, and you'll see our launches fairly soon. So that gives you a lot more clarity. So for instance, this is the platform that we built. So you'll see all these AI solutions, RPA solutions, and whatnot. So essentially, we are connecting real world to the communities, youth communities, irrespective of the age. It's not the age, it's the skill that matters. You can be 16-year-old and you can be ahead of a 40-year-old guy, if that's, if you choose to. Or, I mean, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that, there is a tendency in the industry that, older you are, most quote unquote more matured, and you're supposed to have more knowledge and wisdom. And it sort of holds good. I'm not going to say, and that's not true entirely, but when it comes to tech and some of the things that are taking place nowadays, you don't have to be 40-year-old. You can achieve all that while you are still in high school or college, provided you get that exposure. When I say exposure, fairly simple. All these things. I'll ask you a simple question. I have a coffee place. I run coffee business. Can you develop a software solution for me? If you know the answer, you're doing very well. If you don't, it's a struggle. It doesn't matter what's your grade and how well you know operating systems and or syntax of Python. So that's that application side of things is extremely essential. And so that's where some of the folks that are very bright and very talented and hardworking tend to lose time to figure those things out. So that's very important. So just to give you an idea, these are all the products, and we have a bunch of projects in progress. And there are some of the products that we haven't put because of NDA reasons with some of our customers. So I'm going to run one of the products, and so you can take a look at it briefly, and then we can go to, I'll show you a couple of other products, and then we go from there. All right. I hope you got the idea. So just one of the products, the idea is basically this is image processing. If you scan any recognized logo and shape of apparel, it will find on e-commerce platforms such as Amazon. So this is our IP block we customize for different needs for different customers. So just to give an idea, these are the kind of products we get students involved, and so that potentially can lead to internships and even startup opportunities. Just to give an idea, so this is one of the startups launched by one of our students. He couldn't be here today, but otherwise he would have done the presentation. So this Next Clap is a startup by itself now. So we are one of their customers. So they have 600 students on this platform right now. So what it does is basically it will build your profile. When you join our program, you can build your own product portfolio, and it's very authentic. So the difference between this and LinkedIn or GitHub is you can throw some random stuff in it. So this will flag and remove your content. This platform makes sure you indeed created these applications, and it's very self-explanatory. When you apply for colleges or foreign universities in your case, and so we are trying to build a trust between Nextclap and those colleges. When they see it, they do believe that you indeed did this. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons we are working with all these universities, so that once you have this profile, and if it is legitimate, it's self-explanatory, and it puts you on better situation to get into better opportunities. Okay, so it also has online courses, and it also has the social, where we used to run a lot of hackathons. Nowadays, a little slowed down. We are doing virtually, but unfortunately, we are not driving through this platform at the moment. And yeah, so this is a product developed by our students. It's all developed using Python, Flask, and even the image processing was done using Angular and Python on the back end, and I believe Firebase storage. So so these are the type of products, just to give an idea, that will help you to understand the real world. And so that's pretty much it. When you get a chance, check it out. And so in the interest of time, I'm going to switch back to our presentation. So these are the 3-step formulas. So we will help you to develop your skills. When I say skill development, it's not just learning a bunch of tools. You also have to understand how to communicate, how to work in a team, how to send an email and be humble and make things happen. That's called leadership. So how you convince or persuade the other person to make sure that he or she's contributing. And if you can do those things, you elevate yourself to be a leader. So there can be more than one leader in a group, and if there are 4 guys in a team, all 4 can be leaders. And so it's a leader doesn't mean that traditional there is one head and the rest are all followers. And it's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that. I should say it's not like that. So if you follow sports, for instance, in the world of cricket, so there's Virat Kohli, there is what is the guy? All these guys, I forgot the name. Rahul, KL Rahul. All these guys are leaders. I know there's one captain, but when you go to their locker room, they all have things to contribute, and they all stand up and tell what needs to be done by the team. So those are the kind of skills you have to develop. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. So that's why we bring these internships, paid internships. Through them, you get an opportunity to serve a customer while you're in school, which is very important, because at the end of the day, whatever you know, if somebody doesn't appreciate, or somebody is not ready to pay for what you can offer, you don't have a job. Somebody asked a question, how do you get a job? It's very simple. If somebody is willing to pay for what you can offer, you have a job. That's it. Very simple definition. If you don't, it doesn't matter. You can be PhD, you can be extraordinary talent. And if nobody understands what you're saying, or nobody's able to follow, or nobody can use what you have, unfortunately, it's a struggle. So that's why, like lot of us, me included, when we get out, since we don't know how to turn this into, or monetize it, or turn this into a value, we join a company by requesting, by the way, I know all these things, I have this degree, please give me a job, I can do these things. And so what you are saying to the company is, I can do these things, but I don't know how to solve the problem. The problem is, let's say if that business does e-commerce platform like Amazon. So I don't know how e-commerce platform works. I don't know how supply chain works. I don't know how in the real world all these things work. I know the concepts. So please give me a job and I'll join, and hopefully I'll learn one day. So that's where you are going to lose time by figuring these things out. And there are a lot of other things come into picture. And so that's the crux of what you need to know as part of the education, not after. So we also provide virtual incubation services, as I said before, if you have ambitions to do your own thing, or if you want to be part of startup, we'll connect you to the startup as well. So I want to talk about interns a bit. So basically, so the definition of internship is, so there is a traditional thinking that, if I get a job, implicitly it says that, oh, I'm qualified and I learned everything. Now I got a job, I'm good. That's no longer the case. Maybe that was the case decades ago. Even then it wasn't, but you can say, okay, let's say in India, if you join a government job, yeah, you're absolutely right. Probably more or less your learning part is done. In some of the government jobs, I don't know all of them, but anyway, the point is that the continuous learning, that the concept of continuous learning is the definition of a job. If you are learning continuously all the required skills, you don't have to worry about job will come to you. And also when you join the or internship or job means application of your education. While you're applying, you have to upgrade yourself. So that's called learning. While you're learning, and you should also start applying. So that's the program we created. So in other words, through our programs, you can be intern and also a student at the same time. And also you may be doing other multiple internships and also learning something new, or you're also mentoring someone else through internship. So you will be doing a combination of all these things so that you understand where you stand and what's your strengths and how you can potentially succeed in the real world. So anyway, coming back to our pathway, so we cover all these different domains out there. And and then I put all the programming languages into one bucket because, as I said before, it's just a tool. And you don't learn programming language and start wondering what to do. You should start wondering about what to do and then pick the programming language that suits the best. So for instance, if you want to do RPA, I mean, you need to think what is the fastest, the closest or maybe shortest path to get it done. So possibly Python and Robocorp is one of them. So now let's say, oh, I learned Java. How do I do RPA? You're kind of late, or you're totally on a different tangent. So that's the mindset you must have. Everything you're learning is to solve a problem. If you're not solving a problem, it doesn't matter. So that's the kind of approach we bring to the table. And just to give an idea, these are all the, just a sample, or rather, so certain way of doing this. As I said before, if some of the students don't fit into this, we can do different programs as well, but I wanted to show some of them. This is mainly for, IT CSE students. They tend to lean towards, the little bit more technical. So, definitely, learning machine learning or understanding AI is the way to go. There's no doubt about it. Machine learning is crazily everywhere. And so it's a great opportunity to learn those along with the actual industry tools, not just fundamentals. Okay, so as part of that, we bring in our partner ecosystem to help you to learn these things as well. And so this is for other folks that are not CSIT, and so this is mainly for web. I mean, as you can very well imagine, there is web and mobile is everywhere, and you can envision so many use cases in that domain. So that's why we try to bring this. If you're a mechanical engineer, for instance, RPA, period. I mean, it's no brainer. If you're a chemical engineer or something else, and knowing or learning web solutions, and more importantly, doing it. All right, so yeah, so I'm almost done. I got 5 minutes left. So as I said, this is the course roadmap, and so these are the different paid internship opportunities. We give you opportunity to be a mentor while you being mentored by us. So we strongly believe in continuous learning. You must mentor someone while you're being mentee by someone else, which is missing piece in the current industry, in the education industry, or in general in the system. And also we give you opportunities in the content creation, marketing, and business development, for those, who may lean towards those kind of things, because we work with MBA programs as well. And also we'll give you opportunity to work on actual product as part of the team, global team, and also the startup opportunities. So this is what it: apply, mentor, and create the content. This is called continuous learning. You must learn. So while you are doing content creation, you get an opportunity to learn about a lot of domains. To solve a problem, you need three things. There's a tool, there's a domain, there's a use case. If you don't know those three, you're sort of handicapped in a way. You need to learn that part to be successful doing that. So you need, in order to do those, you need to do those in parallel. You can't sequence them. You can't say, okay, I'm going to learn Java programming. I'm going to learn, let's say, I don't know, like enterprise software. And then, oh, by the way, now let's see what Starbucks does. So that takes you 10 years to get there. I'm just exaggerating, but it takes a long time to get there. You need to do these things in parallel. You need to learn, while you're learning programming, you also have to understand some of these domains. So that's the kind of pathway we define, so that you're ready in shorter period of time, relatively speaking. Yeah, so as I said, we bring the business case, to the skills, and as I said, we bring the industry partners and to get more exposure, and all our certified courses, and also you get certification for internships as well. So again, one more thing. So why we think our internships are better? Let's say if you do intern for a certain company, so it's a fixed time. So there is a 6 weeks or whatever. So we do, it's ongoing, and then it's part time, and so there is no a fixed stipulated time, and so that you get tremendous experience over a period of time. Let's say if you do internship for 4 years with us, that's a great thing on your resume. And second thing is, this is our part of our process. So as a result, we make sure that you do legitimate work. So in other words, if you join Amazon or Uber as an intern, they don't even know whether you come to work or not. So you hang out for a few months and leave. And after that, you get a letter probably. And other than that, sometimes, you don't even remember what you did. It's like a dream. So in our case, it's a continuous learning, and also it's a continuous internship model. So where you are doing the legitimate work that carries with you. So keep in mind, all these tools, all the programming language, they're all going to change. What doesn't change is the things that you create, the problems you solve. That's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. C++, they're all going to be different one day. Some of them may not even exist, who knows? But what exists is if you did something with C, and that's going to stay with you. All right, so these are all so we put on the process for a certain number of months, and then we monitor you. We make sure that you have all the skills. Once you have these skills, we'll give you the internship. For those that are not qualified for whatever reasons for the internship, then we never tell you that you are not qualified. We tell you that you need to spend more time. So you might have to spend an additional 3 to 4 months. In fact, we give you training to be intern. And if you succeed doing that, you will definitely get an opportunity. If you don't show up, there is nothing much we can do about it. Yeah, so basically, it builds a better future. You connect to the real world, and this is the summary. And so everything that I talked about, I put in a. So you'll have a lot time for Q&A at the end. So right now, I'm going to hand over to Peter.
Thank you very much, Guru. I'm having a little bit of difficulty with my video for the moment, but hopefully 1 second here if everybody. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this to work. So in the interest of time, why don't I just do audio and I'll share my screen as well. The purpose of today is a visual demonstration anyway, so nobody needs to see my face. So let's see. Okay. So for those of you who aren't aware, RoboCorp is a robotic process automation company. So as some quick background, robotic process automation is one of, if not the fastest growing segment of enterprise software technology today. The simple premise behind RPA is the creation of bots, or often people will call them digital workers, to complete what are typically mundane or repeatable, say, for instance, data entry tasks that would otherwise take up the time of a human worker. So RoboCorp's approach to RPA is by creating an open source and flexible platform. So we are the leaders in that approach. Traditionally, RPA has been attached to proprietary or closed source programs that are mostly focused on drag and drop tools that are not designed specifically for developers. So it's exciting to be speaking to a lot of aspiring developers on the line today, because that is our target audience. And for us also, as Guru mentioned, we have an attachment to Python. So RoboCorp is built off effectively two open source communities, one being Robot Framework. And I'll share a little bit of the Robot Framework code as well, just as a quick preview. But more or less, we have a very strong attachment to Python as well, because what you can do is utilize your Python packages or Python dependencies and use those to build your robots and ultimately control them via our platform, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today. So there are hundreds of established libraries or building blocks that you would utilize to create these robots, as well as thousands of keywords embedded within those libraries to help you complete or build certain actions that the robot would do itself. Python and its attachment to us is very exciting for obvious reasons. One, it's established as, the leading coding language for AI and ML, as well as analytics. So for us, this is a great opportunity for developers to more or less standardize on what has become a very common or one of the leading languages. So if you do have basic Python scripting skills, you can now expand your skill set and expand your capabilities by adding automation to, the analytics and the AI projects that you might already be working on previously, as well as integrating those previous projects into your automation processes as well. So adding intelligence to the automation is certainly, a future vision for the industry as well. So I'll share very quickly, all of our libraries and details on how to become a strong developer within RoboCorp are available in our documentation here. And this is all entirely free and accessible to everyone on the line here. We also have training courses, which I will point to at the end of the call as a great way to get started within our platform. But what I'd like to demonstrate today is just a very simple, what's called RPA challenge. So this is a very common just RPA use case, or a very easy way to test RPA. And what this is you can go to the website yourselves, and what you're effectively challenged to do is download an Excel file, which includes a number of rows of lines of data, and then take that Excel and input it into this type form as fast and as accurately as possible. So we're going to do that via RoboCorp today. Just to kind of give you a preview of what that Excel will look like. It's, again, just only 10 lines of data, but we're going to try and populate this type form as fast as possible using RPA, as well as also as accurately as possible. So this is an example of just what the code will look like for this actual bot itself. And up at the top here, we have a kind of a simple description of what will be utilized, or what kind of frameworks will be utilized to make this happen. So again, we're going to go to the website, open the Excel spreadsheet, download that spreadsheet, take the contents of that spreadsheet and insert them into the XPath, or the locators of the type form on the website. Once that is done, we're going to fill in and submit all the forms to the matching XPaths, and then capture a screenshot at the end, which tells us how fast we did that project and whether or not we were successful in completing it. So once you have built your robots, utilizing this code and utilizing these open source libraries, what you can do is then upload them to our control room. And this is RoboCorp's basically, platform offering. And what this enables you to do is manage and also track all the bots and processes that you create, and also schedule them and do all sorts of great things in terms of monitoring them, more or less. So I'm going to walk through the basic process of running this RPA challenge via RoboCorp's control room. So I've logged in now, and these are all my organizations that I've been added to, but I'm going to click through to RoboCorp's demo one, which contains the RPA challenge itself. And you see that right here. So I can configure this process to, right now it's configured to run on my laptop so that you all can see it happen. But it is also entirely possible to have this run utilizing our cloud infrastructure as well, and which makes for the great opportunity to scale these projects as well and distribute them via the cloud rather than having them run on a local environment. But for the purposes today, we're going to attach it to my personal laptop and run it that way. Here is also where you would adjust any schedules. So if you wanted to have this run, say, weekly or every hour, or have it be triggered by an email, that's where you would set this all up here. So I'm going to run this just by a click of a mouse here, and just pay attention because it does happen very quickly. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that it is on the screen. Sometimes takes a moment to get started. So if you blinked your eyes, you may have missed it, but what we're going to do is go in to RoboCorp's logging features and show you exactly what happened. So right now it's still saying that the run was in progress, but it did complete. And we're going to open up a comprehensive log here that shows whether or not the bot was successful at each one of its different stages. So in order to start the challenge, we opened the available browser. We downloaded the file with all the keywords and details within it. After that, we went back to the website, took the information from the Excel file and entered that into the website itself. We collected all the results via a screenshot here, and you can see that we did all 70 fields, 100% success rate, in 847 milliseconds. So less than a second, it took us to complete this task. So that's a very simple introduction and overview to RPA as it's facilitated through our platform here. It's a great way to do things at scale, and also we have, as I had mentioned earlier, entirely free developer accounts that you're able to build, test, and even initially deploy your automations and start driving value for yourself right away without contributing any software costs to us. I'm going to end on the fact that we do have great training courses and certificates. These, again, are also entirely free and available to you in a self-service way. I will share the link to the chat right now for those of you who are interested in going through them. We have 3 different levels. One takes about 2 hours. The second one is the most intense. It'll take you about a day. And the final one takes a few hours as well. But in completing these, you will be, effectively certified to create, a long list of automations within RoboCorp's platform. You'll also get your own certificate that you can share with your peers, as well as future employers. And if you do share that certificate, say on your LinkedIn or your Twitter account, our team will even follow up and send you a t-shirt as well. So that concludes my presentation for today. Guru, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and also share in the chat the link to the course for everybody. And I want to thank everybody for your time and audience. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Peter. And so now we'll switch over to Bertrand Meyer. He's based out of Switzerland, and he's very senior and has been in education as well. And they have a very interesting software tool he's going to present right now. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Guru. It's a pleasure to be presenting some of our stuff. So this is one of the programs that is not yet in the offering of Silicon Valley for You, and it's a little bit specific. It's for those of you who are interested in doing something more than the average guy or gal. So let me share my screen, since I did prepare a few slides. So, what I'm going to talk about, if it will, is the offering that we have. We being iPhone Software, it's a company based in Santa Barbara, but so we have quite a broad offering of software tools, all organized around the programming language iPhone, which we developed. But I'm going to focus on the application to education, of course, to learning, because this is the order of the day here. So our approach to teaching programming is based on or reflected in a number of books, but in particular this introductory textbook that I wrote called Touch of Class, which is a play, of course, on the word class, which is the central concept of object-oriented programming. Subtitle Learning to Program Well with Object and Contracts. Maybe, and we have lots of materials available to those of you who are interested in taking up this approach. I'm talking in particular, not just to students, but also to instructors and representatives of universities who might be interested in pursuing this on a large scale. So we have MOOCs, video lectures, online exercises. By online exercise, I mean actually the ability to go online, answer a programming exercise with your solution, and then have the whole thing compiled and tested on the cloud. Maybe I should say a couple of words about myself. So I'm kind of a hybrid beast with one part academic, one part business. Most of my career until I came to Switzerland was actually in business. So earlier I had various positions in industry, but at some point I started this company, iPhone Software, based in Santa Barbara, so not in Silicon Valley, a few hundred kilometers or miles south of that. I remained CTO, and a few years ago I took more of an academic turn to my career, so I became professor of software engineering at ETH Zurich, which is the Swiss Federal Institute of technology, which is famous for, among others, two things. The first, of course, is that it hired me. And the second is that before me, Einstein was a student and actually a professor there. So then I left ETH, and more recently I've been active in another university in Switzerland, the Schaffhausen Institute of Technology, which is a new and very ambitious university there. I should also mention that I was involved in the creation 5 years ago of a boot camp and Code Academy in Zurich, which quickly became the top Swiss offering in this area. So we know with some goals which are similar to what Guru described for Silicon Valley for You. We just sold the company, so you hear, and if you want to look it up, you can use either the old URL, Propulsion Academy, or the new URL, which is sit.academy. I've published quite a few books, lots of articles, I have no fear. You can look me up on LinkedIn, on Google Scholar, on Wikipedia. Don't necessarily believe everything that you see, but basically there's lots of information. And basically, at heart, I remain a programmer. So this is what I do when I really have the time to do what I want to do. So I can even show you the current program that I'm developing, and it's also I'll come back to it in a minute because it's an opportunity to give you a quick glimpse of the Eiffel Studio development environment. So I'll come back to it in a minute, but let me talk to you about the course that we are offering. So it's a course that I taught, and my colleagues taught in various incarnations, shorter, longer, first year bachelor, first year master, and so on, to many students. I personally taught the introduction programming course at ETH Zurich 14 years in a row. So this is the basic course that all incoming students in computer science take to learn programming. So that's about 6,000 students from 2003 to 2015. I taught it at Innopolis University in Russia. I'm teaching it, something like it, now at the Schaffhausen Institute of Technology. And of course, many other people in other universities in various countries taught some version of that course. So the purpose of the course is a little bit different from what you get with an introduction to Python or introduction to Java. That is to say, Eiffel, the programming language that we use, is a minority solution. You can find lots of information about it on the web if you Google around or Bing around, but it's definitely nowhere close in terms of popularity to something like Python or Java. But it has a specific emphasis, which is an emphasis on quality, on producing high quality software. So if you take this course, you're not just learning a programming language, you're not just learning basic programming techniques, you're also learning fundamental techniques of design and implementation of quality software systems. So really software engineering. There's a difference between programming, which is putting together some code, and software engineering, which is the work of an engineer who produces quality solutions that he or she can stand by. So the book and the course rely on software that we have developed for that purpose. It's a traffic simulation program in a city, which provides you with a lot of code to play with from the start, and you can also extend it, develop it in various directions. So a few more words about Eiffel. It's not recent. It has been around for quite a while. It's very different now from what it was, but it's still the same general spirit, with a focus on software quality, especially reliability, extendability. So the reliability means producing software that works. Extendability means producing software that is really soft, in the sense that it can be changed without too much pain, and reusability, which means that pieces of it can be reused in different systems. Okay? It emphasizes simplicity. Now, I gave you already a glimpse of what Eiffel code looks like, but you can see that it's very different from kind of high priest notations that use all kinds of strange symbols all over the place. This is really meant to be clear and understandable. and in particular to favor the dialogue between IT people and non-IT people who can understand Eiffel code, even if they are not computer science PhDs. It's used for mission critical projects in industry. It's based on a very interesting and very important set of concepts that we developed, design by contract, which have been widely cited and imitated. And you can look up design by contract on the web. You'll find literally hundreds of thousands of references, but it's only in Eiffel that the concepts are fully realized. I don't have the time to tell you more about design by contract, or to tell you much more. Let me just say that it's a way to insert into the code itself elements of, or I should say, arguments for its correctness. So, if I run my current program, again, this is something I'm developing, right? So it's in a mess, but so it's real stuff, right? It's tomorrow it will be different from what it is today, but still I can show some stuff. So you can see that there's something called a class invariant, which is essentially consistency constraints on the code, and in this case, it's three nested for all properties. For all elements of the list, then for all elements of some component of the list, then for all elements of a component of the list, some property is true. So this is quite intricate. It's actually not difficult to devise because it expresses the fundamental properties of your code, but it also means, and this is the important thing, that if you have any mistake anywhere, any error anywhere, then there's a high chance that it will be detected by this. So if I run my program, which I'm doing now, okay, let me, it has a number of test cases, so I can take a test case more or less arbitrarily. So what it doesn't matter so much, and produces this diagram, which is important for me. It has actually many applications, but I don't need to explain what it does. What is actually important to mention is that this is a complicated and sophisticated computation, and as we are performing this computation right now, the kind of properties that I mentioned here implied probably hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of checks. So if there's anything anywhere that I've messed up, and of course we mess up a lot as programmers, then it will be caught. So this means a completely different approach to software construction, which is focused on quality. And instead of, the dirty secret of programming is the part which happens when you have produced a program and you're trying to test it, to trying to use it. And then, of course, you go into bugs and debugging and difficulties. So it's not that my computer crashed. It could actually. This is a slide, right? But I'm sure you've all run into this kind of thing, and it's not the only example. Maybe it's one of the most visible, but all over the place, software causes damage to society. Our modern society depends so much on software that any misfunctioning of software can have tragic consequences. Incorrect programs have killed people. There were crashes of rockets, like the Ariane 5 example, in which $10 billion were lost because of simple program error, on which I wrote an article actually at the time, analyzing what was wrong. And so the purpose of our teaching is not just to teach you programming, but to teach you good programming. And again, to reinforce how important this is, if you take a modern car, according to KPMG, it has something like 150 million lines of code. Okay? Think about it, 150 million lines of code. Windows has 50 million lines of code, which is already a lot. And so the potential for something to go wrong somewhere is absolutely enormous. So, I hope you get the point here. There's a program in my bug. Bug is the affectionate name for the old Volkswagen Beetle, okay, a Beetle or a bug. Well, there's a program in my bug, and of course, inevitably, there will be a bug in my program. And so this is 2016, but the trend has only gone up since then. Already 5 years ago, 15% of car recalls were due to software errors. And today, I didn't get an updated version of this, but it's around 25%. So it's absolutely, there are lots of people who can write programs. And so coming to the education aspect, it's very important to learn to program, but if you learn to program well, then that sets you aside of the rest of the crowd. So this is why, the textbook and the emphasis on the course is the same. It's not just called learning to program. It's called learning to program well, meaning that it's correct, it's extendable, the program is correct, extendable, readable, reusable, robust, secure, and I could continue. There's a long list of quality. So that's what we are trying to teach. Again, this is with an environment which is quite powerful. Well, what I was showing here is iFull Studio. You can see that we can explore.
Bertrand, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think a lot of questions are waiting. I think your time is up. I apologize.
Yeah,
if you can summarize it,
I'm done.
I'm done. Hand over to this. Yeah,
I am done. So yeah, the environment enables you to design your software graphically as well as textually. And so so if you want to know more, you can look up the textbook. You can go to both iFull.com, which is more for the commercial part, and iFull.org, which is for the more for the public domain offering.
Thank you very much, Bertrand. Basically, yeah, there is a difference between coding and software engineering. So this is a great presentation. I really appreciate. So let's open up for Q&A. I think you can stop sharing, Bertrand, yeah. And if you're done. And so yeah, and so John, you want to take it over, or I can just go over if you want. All right. Okay, so let me see. No problem. So I will answer those questions until John comes back. So Saroj Jongde is asking, is it useful for mining industry or mining engineering students? Absolutely, 100%. So the point is that, as I said before, tech is everywhere, whether you are going to be in mining or whatever it may be, it's already in it. And so we have solutions that are built for CSIT and non-CSIT folks as well. If your interest is not deep into coding, that's fine too. So we have programs that helps you to develop applications or help projects without even getting into actual coding and syntax and semantics. So please email us, and if or you can go to our Facebook page, or I can just put email here, info@Silicon Valley for you. If you have more questions, we'll have someone answer for you. Okay. And so other questions are, all right. So to get your internship certificate or conduct any exam after completion. So basically, yeah, I mean, there is a, so it's not, we don't call it exam like the way in the industry does. So the way we do is, the best easy way to put it is, if you can develop and solve a problem, you don't need anybody's certificate in reality. But having said that, we do give certificate, and we monitor you over a period of time. It's not like we conduct one exam and see how well you are doing. We don't believe in estimating or assessing somebody in 1 hour, 30 minutes time, because there are a lot of people do very well in interviews and it doesn't pan out, and vice versa. There are a lot of guys, they don't say much, they do extraordinary job. So that's why it's a process. We monitor over a period of time and decide, we try to bring internship that helps with your strengths. And then we'll identify, things that you need to improve on. And then we put you on continuous learning to learn those things so that hopefully you can cover your weaknesses if there are any, and you can bring them back into your internships. Does that answer your question? I think that's by Dr. M.V. Ramchandra Rao. And how is it useful for civil and mechanical students? Absolutely. Like I said before, for instance, RPA is straight up, so for mechanical, no brainer. I mean, same with civil. So I guess, let me put it this way. Technology is a life skill. It's no longer a subject. It's not a discipline. It's that those days are gone. I know there are a lot, colleges have computer science degrees and whatnot. Yes, that's to go deep into certain things, certain domains like AI or system side or embedded side and things like that. That's that. But in general, technology and awareness of technology and creation of, creation using technology, all those things have to be adopted by everyone, period. Even if you're a doctor. We work with medical schools, by the way, just so you know, and MBA schools. So it's for everybody, even if you're a mechanical civil person. But idea is not to deviate from your passion and put you into software. That's not the goal. You can continue to be in civil or mechanical or mining in the other case, and take advantage of the skills that you have in your back pocket to accelerate your career. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, for whatever reasons, economies are economies, right? Bad things can happen. And let's say, in certain areas, like civil engineering, construction's completely stalled for whatever reasons, and you don't have jobs. You have plan B, tech, get in. The best other part is, as you can see right now, we have people from Switzerland, Boston, myself in San Francisco, you guys are in India. Global presence. You have a tech, take the laptop and go wherever you want to go. You want to live in Italy, go ahead. So you may not be able to do with civil. You definitely not, because you have to go, if you want to cross the border, you have to learn more things there. You have to get a license, yada. So most probably same with mechanical, I'm assuming, but probably not as much as civil. And so point I'm trying to make is that this gives you that freedom and global presence in case if you end up being in a different country, just like I did, and or like for whatever reasons things start working out in your own discipline, or that's not your interest. Let's say if I know people are doing civil engineering, how do they know that they're what, 16-year-old? How do they know that civil engineering is what they want to do? Probably they're not good fit for that. So technology opens up those different fields to get in, and you can remain in civil engineering, just so you know. So the next question is, since Wasam Shetty Lohit, since Python, Java, C, C++, which is the top position? So which is the better programming language? That's why I think that's his question. So there is no such thing as one is better than other. They're all meant for different applications. So let's say if you want to do machine learning or RPA, Python is the way to go. And so for instance, Eiffel, they just talked about, if you want to write high quality software engineering centric applications, probably Eiffel. Java is everywhere, and it is meant for certain things. C++, they're predominantly for games and embedded devices. So if you take Python and do embedded devices, that's not good. If you take C++ and do ML, you might be able to do it, but Python is a better solution. So in that sense, these are all tools. So think of it this way: you have Hammer, you have Spanner. Can I use Hammer for Spanner? No. Unfortunately, Hammer does certain thing, Spanner does certain other things. So these are all tools. Think of it that way. So that should give you clarity which one is better. But having said that, what I recommend to all the students is don't just start one after another and generally learn everything. You learn, you start applying, create something, and then think about creating another one. If that creation requires C++, that's when you learn C++. You don't learn Python, C, C++, everything, and then say, okay, and then you go to interview and struggle. And because I don't think anybody cares how many programming languages you know. They want to know if you can do some work for them using at least one language. hopefully that answers your question. So Dr. M.V. Ramchandra, really is nice presentation, sir. Thank you very much. Is all internships having same duration or different? Yes. So ours is ongoing internships. As I said before, we have students with 6 years, all 6 years with us. There is no end date for our internship. And there will be a start date, obviously, because if you're not qualified or if you don't have skills, we may not be able to get you on board. The way we program structured is first we absorb you as a student. As we monitor for 6 to 8 months, and then based on your skills, we'll bring the internships but we don't expect you to stop learning. We want you to continue learning and also enjoy the internship. So that's what we call it, continuous learning, so that as you can progress to the internship roadmap. So internship, you start with, let's say, Python, developing application, you learn new things, new tools. So let's say you learn RPA. So the next internship will include RPA so that you can progress through the RPA. You cannot say that I know enough. There is no such thing. I mean, I've been around for a long time. I don't know enough. So there are a lot of times people have a tendency that I know this, I know that, this is my resume, give me a job. It doesn't work that way. Please realize really quickly before it gets too late. Certain people will get a job, don't get carried away. It doesn't mean that you are doing very well, because companies are looking at your grades and maybe you did fairly well in interview and they will give you a chance. But after 3 years, are you progressing? If you're not, you're losing time. Not a lot of times, many thousands of students are not realizing that. Second is, if you are struggling to get into a job, it's not end of the world. So if you are self-reliant, if you become self-reliant, they'll come to you. Opportunities will knock on your door. So what is the process of getting internship? I just answered, I think. So Dhulipala Venkatrao, how much is the fee for the individual student? So I want to deflect this question to Dr. Gnaneswara Rao. And so if you're available right now, you can answer that, or you can answer that at the end. Dr. Gnaneswara, are you available right now? Okay. So the next question is, how will I get a job early? Very simple, and just figure it out and say, okay, if somebody's interested in your services, you'll get a job. And so how do you assess yourself that you have sufficient skills to serve somebody is a bigger question. So that's where our program is structured. So we have to monitor over a period of time. It's a process. This is not a scheduled thing. It's not an interview. We interview and then say, oh, you can do this. You may not be able to do it. Doesn't mean that you're disqualified. It doesn't mean that you are a low IQ person. Probably your IQ is high, but you haven't spent enough time or any time on certain things. So that's why we always preach to the students that we don't believe the statement of you're disqualified. You're qualified if you spend enough time. And I think that's okay. All right. Okay, there are more questions. So Dr. Gnaneswara, once you're back, please tell me, and then I'll hand over to you for the answers. If not Gnaneswara, someone else can also. All right, so is it useful for civil students? I answered that. Okay, hold on. Okay, Saroj and Sunand Dara. So what should we firstly learn before entering into this internship? So yeah, so the Gnaneswara, I showed you some of them depending on your background. And once you register, we will, we send a self-assessment form. And based on what you know, what your background is and what you want to do and what we think is the right fit, we'll put you on the course that will give you better prospects. So there is no one answer for those things. And Freed Sayad, database system, Python or core Java, which one of these best to suggest? So I'm going to be repeating like a broken record. And 1 second, just give me 1 second. Yeah. So they're all for different purposes. Database does database things. Python does certain things, and core Java does certain things. There is a mindset I can, based on the questions, what I see is you are tuned to get a job. If I learn database system, do I get a better job? My package is going to be better, yada, yada. Don't think that way. You should right now, until you start pursuing job, right now, focus on problem solving and creation. So that requires, these are all the tools. Once you do that, everything follows. Job follows, money follows, everything follows. And this is the stereotype we are trying to, break. There's a tendency that if I learn, TCP/IP, or I know machine learning, if I learn blockchain, I'm going to get this job. Or probably somebody from your senior batch would have told you, and then somehow he ended up in Infosys or something. That there's a tendency to follow the same trend. It doesn't work that way, and so that at best you might get a job, but after that, what happens, you have no control on. They're going to decide your life. They're going to decide where you're going to be, and your destiny is going to be controlled by them. I can speak for myself. When I came to US, they put me on mainframes. Looking back, maybe I wouldn't have chosen that, but back then I didn't have a choice. So they decided my life, and that doesn't have to be the case anymore. That's what we are trying to preach. So it's about your passion. If you want to do certain things in machine learning, you need corresponding tools. Maybe Python is a good one. That's how you should think. Okay. So Codesora Silum. You see students related internship titles share on screen once. So internships has, again, I go back to the free answer, same answers. It's not like you are going to decide what internship you're going to go in. We will decide for you as part of our process. And this is where, we take your input. However, we also bring certain things and say, okay, this will work. And we give a recommendation based on that. We give you opportunity to be intern. Is it useful for civil students? Yes. I like hacking courses. So I don't know. Okay, so it's good. And I guess I don't know what your question is. When this internship is going to start. So as I said, once you join our course, about 6 to 8 months is what we think when your internship starts. I mean cybersecurity course, about that course. Okay, what does that mean? So cybersecurity, so if your question is, do we have cybersecurity? Answer is yes. How to select a student for internship? So we have a process. We have a very process that we gauge, and based on their attendance, their involvement and the communication and the whole 9 yards. We look at many things, and then we decide the right internship for them. So once the student registers, they'll be trained first, then project-based internship. Am I correct, sir? May I know the commercials involved? So as far as commercials go, as I said before, Dr. Gnanaswara is going to address. And so, yeah, so that's the answer I have at this point of time. Yes, otherwise what you captured is fairly correct. So the best entrepreneur, the main tips, can you tell, sir? So I told you repeatedly, you have to solve a problem. If you solve a problem, you're an entrepreneur. So Facebook.com, they solved a problem, whatever that is, and they create a lot of problems for us. That's a different story. And Twitter and Google, iPhone, all these smartphones, social medias, they sort of took a space and they solved a problem, and where people had to use it. That's called entrepreneurship. There's a difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is he solves the problem and then he takes and then connect with the business and then he becomes sort of business person as well. Elon Musk is a solid entrepreneur. Excuse me. Satya Nadella is a businessman. So you got to solve a problem. If you get up in the morning until you go to bed, there are tons of problems. And there are a lot of problems right in front of you. And if you can see them and solve the problem, you become an entrepreneur, guaranteed. Sir, is it free of cost? It depends. And so free doesn't work, unfortunately. When we say free, then a lot of times people take things for granted and take us for a ride. So we need a serious student, a committed student to turn into an intern. So the seriousness comes with a certain fee. Otherwise, there is no seriousness. Whether you attend the class or not, you don't care because you're not paying. So as a result, unfortunately, we had to come up with a fee structure. So yeah, please send course links for EC students. So yeah, so reach out to info@siliconvalleyforyou.com. So there is no such thing as EC students and civil student, mechanical students. It's not like that. We do the self assessment of your skills. Based on that, we recommend what is the right course for you. It doesn't matter whether you EC or civil or mining or computer science or IT, it doesn't matter, okay? Useful duration, yes. Electrical students, absolutely yes. This internship programs help students to build a good career, yes, sir. And if your point is statement, I appreciate, thank you. If it is a question, answer is yes. And that's the last question I had. And anything else?
Guru Garu, this is Hari Krishna, principal of Mother Theresa Institute of Science and Technology.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, sir. Good.
Yeah,
yes,
very
sir.
good.
I would like to thank you for your valuable time for presenting the most valuable information about the internships and your products towards to our students. And this Gyaneshwars are also helped us a lot in building the bridge between the Mother Theresa Institute of Science and Technology and Silicon Valley for you. Actually, we received the list of courses schedule through Gyaneshwar sir, and we also publishing it through mails to our students. Hope by tomorrow or day after tomorrow we will be in touch with the Gyaneshwar sir, and we will, as per the Gyaneshwar sir guidelines, that fee structures and everything also we will finalize it later, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think that should answer most of the questions as far as fee structure, what course they should be signing up for and things like that. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks. And I mean, thank you very much, Dr. Hari. And so any other question? Oh, hold on, there are more. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, so I'm going to summarize and I'm going to thank everybody. Definitely Peter from RoboCorp and Bertrand. I know he had a conflict with other meeting. He appreciate taking time to attend and educate our students. And also special thanks to Dr. Gyaneshwar and John for moderating this. And so the final thoughts, as I said, you guys, for you, the time is the most important thing right now for you. Nothing else matters. And in my humble opinion, this is all my opinion, but when I say nothing else matters, you know what I'm saying. So it's a lot, and time is the essence for you right now. So time and age is on your side. The advantage you have is you have the age and future in front of you. If you put on the right track, and you can be very helpful to the community by becoming entrepreneur and solving problems and making things better for the better world tomorrow. By doing that, you can be very successful in your career. And so that potentially gets you whatever you are looking for, jobs, money, opportunities, yada, yada, all those things follow. But the important thing is you get on the right track and be very effective and very efficient with your time at the moment. More time you lose, you are going to be at a disadvantage. So once you get past certain age, there are other social commitments come into picture, and you'll be busy with those as well. And you may not be able to do the justice to what you want to do to begin with. So if you have some ambitions of doing something, don't push that to backseat. Just stay with it. Try to pursue that and become whatever you want to be. And there's nobody's going to stop. And the reason we pick technology is, so whatever the passion you have, you can sort of start the journey using technology, and probably you can achieve using these platforms and technologies. That's why we want to connect you to the real world through technology, not by other means, because this has the ability to do it, and it can turn you into something. And you can, if you're into sports, if you're into, I don't know, like you want to be a pilot, you want to be a movie actor, whatever it is, or singer. So anything that you want to pursue, technology is going to help you. So that's the kind of platform we are trying to build for all the youth. And thanks for joining. And so you have our email address, and let us know if you have any questions, and please work with Dr. Chalasani, and they will coordinate everything for you, and then we'll go from there.
Sure, sir. We will coordinate with the students, and we will be in touch with you, sir.
Sounds good, Andy. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Uh-oh, tough stains? Trust Breeze Power Machine Liquid. Mamacita's oyster